It's changing constantly, and I think that's actually what makes the social media environment fascinating and quite exciting to be working in. So you go back as little as 10 years and it didn't exist, so the developments that have taken place and the way that consumers are interacting, in fact the way that we're all interacting online and connecting these days is absolutely fascinating. But I think the key point really is that marketing is having to change completely. It's no longer a one communication out to many. It's on a far more niche scale. It's not the mass market level. It's conversational now. It's two-way, and I think that's the really important point that marketers need to understand. Consumers don't want to be bombarded with information they're not interested in. It now needs to be very relevant and very targeted and very appropriate to them. I think really, truly allowing businesses to understand that the power has shifted. So actually the consumer's in control now, the brands are not in control, and I think it's really understanding that underpins what is ultimately a successful social media strategy. And that for me is the important point. You have the microbloggers, you have bloggers, the social networkers, the forum posters. They're the ones that are driving demand, influencing, talking. They're the ones that are actually in control of the messages that are going out. So I think really understanding that power shift and the dynamics behind that power shift is fundamental to social media going forward. I think there are several different reasons why actually the brands that are winning are really, really winning. So I mean, keeping it down to a snacks level, I think Pringles are doing an exceptional job. But I think the way that Pringles are doing it so well is that it's integrated. It's also entertaining and relevant and appropriate and fun, and that is really what is engaging the consumer and giving them the content then to play with and control themselves. So I think there's actually lots of different facets that make a successful campaign, but integration above the line and below the line, as well as investment, not just in terms of money, but in terms of time, giving it the thought that it actually requires. It's a very different channel, and that requires very different thinking. I think there are quite a few points actually. The number one for me is listen, learn, put that on a feedback loop. Listen, learn, and continue going. I think it's a constant feedback loop of listening to consumers, understanding what works, understanding what they enjoy in terms of communication and what the brand means to them and where the brand sits in their life. I think if you're looking for a kind of a top five tips, I would recommend that brands respect the power of the fan and that they understand that fundamental shift in power. Be creative, have fun. Really use entertainment as part of the communication. Fans are expecting that now. Invest time and money in the social media channel. It is a very different channel, as I said earlier. Fourthly, in terms of the top tips, I would recommend that brands arm their customers with information, with content that they can use. So the customers are going to be talking about them, or customers or fans are going to be talking about them anyway, so give them relevant information to use in order to have those conversations online. And then the last point would be to be creative. Be a bit different with your communication. Build a personality and use that in terms of education, humour. Add value above all is what social media really should do. It's not really about the underlying selling, it's about building relationships. So adding value to the conversation is really key.